corresponding parts. Good, write that down. And I'm going to abbreviate and say corresponding parts. And we're not talking about corresponding angles like in parallel lines. We're talking about the context of our chapter here. And what's our chapter about?
Corresponding parts.
What are we doing in this chapter as far as
Proving
that?
angles are congruent.
Triangles are congruent, right? Good. This whole chapter is about congruent triangles, right?
Yeah.
So corresponding parts of congruent triangles. That's what our whole chapter is about, is coming up with congruent triangles. And now what this section talks about is taking those congruent triangles and using different pieces of them. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So in order for this statement to even make any sense, you have to have corresponding corresponding triangles to begin with. Think about it like this. Twins, identical twins, not fraternal twins, identical twins. If you look at their like different facial features, like their eyes look the same. One twin's eyes looks the same as another twin's eyes. Their hands would match. Their corresponding parts would match. So if you know two things are the same, then you can find individual parts that match. However, one twin's hand doesn't look like the other twin's foot, right? It has to be corresponding parts that actually fit together. So let's start with these triangles right here. I'm going to show you that they're congruent, and then you're going to use the corresponding parts. All right. So first of all, we're all focused here now.
Yeah.
Do you see these right angles? What do we know about right angles?
That
That they're always congruent.
They're always congruent. So we have a pair of congruent angles here. Do you see this side 500 and 500?
Yeah.
Are those congruent?
Yeah.
500 matches 500.
Yeah.
Where else do you see congruent parts in that triangle?
That
And it
A,
starts with a V.
AC.
Vertical angles. See that? I won't try to copy what you said. No, I won't try it. Okay, vertical angles theorem is true. So now we're going to try to show that those two triangles are congruent. If we can say they're congruent, then we can use all of their individual parts. That's right. Okay, so we know that triangle, and this is not a proof, so I'm not writing out all the parts. There's a proof you have to include every step. But we can say the triangle EDC, and the first triangle you can put in any order that you want. EDC is congruent to. For your second triangle, you have to put in matching order. Whatever goes with E goes first. Whatever goes with D, whatever goes with C goes in that order. But you can tell by the markings. You can't make it random. E has no marking line. Which triangle angle on the other side has no marking? A. So those two would go together. E would go with A. Good. D has a right angle marking, and so does B. B has a right angle marking, so those two go together. And then C's go together because they're vertical angles. So what reason would you be looking at those white markings?
It tells you where all the angles are inside.
And think about one of these choices. Which reason makes triangles congruent? By that
But
marking.
it's angle side angle.
That's right. Angle side angle. Good. Okay. So before you can know that parts from these triangles match, you have to first of all know that they're congruent. You have to know that you're dealing with identical twins or with whatever. So now they ask us a question. If DE is equal to 600 feet, find out what AB is. So if we look at our picture, we know that DE is 600, but according to our picture and according to our words right here, DE goes with which one?
AB.
AB,
Or AB.
first two. The right angle to no mark goes with the right angle to no mark. So what's AD going to be also? 600. And that's by using corresponding parts of congruent triangles first. So ED equals AB, which both equals 600 by CPCTC. CPCTC, will always come after congruent triangles. You have to find congruent triangles first, and congruent triangles come from SSS, SAS, ASA, or AAS. So look at example 2. Before you can even do anything with the triangles, you have to know that they are congruent. So for example 2 here, there's a pond. A landscape architect is trying to set it up so he can find a distance between J and K, which is across the pond. He doesn't want to get in the water. He doesn't want to get in a little boat. He wants to stay on land. So he created a setup of triangles so that he could do the measuring that way. Okay. So first of all, we are trying to show that the triangles are congruent. Do you see any congruencies that could lead us to SAS or SSS? Do you see anything that matches so far? 30 equals 30. What else? And then what else? Vertical angles. Since I'm not doing a proof, I would have to write all that out if I was doing a proof, but I'm not doing a proof. I'm just looking at it. Yep, that's what we're going to write down next. Excellent. JLK, someone over here just said wouldn't it be SAS? Yes, it's going to be SAS. Triangle JLK is going to be congruent to get practice with getting the letters in the right order. J, look at this. J doesn't have any markings on it, but neither does K. But J is next to the side that has 2 dashes. Which one in the other triangle is next to the side with 2 dashes? N. So J and N line up together. The L has a mark, so it goes with the other one, the L that has a mark right there. And K is next to the side that only has 1 dash. Which one does that line up with on the other side? M. Sorry, it's standing your way. M. And that's by side, angle side. So before you can use corresponding parts from these triangles, you have to know that the triangles are congruent. So now let's read the question. They want to know, what is JK? Just kidding. Yeah.
JK is angle side
The triangles are congruent by side angle side. But now we're trying to figure out the numbers now. And JK, right here, JK is going to go with which side? And M is going to be 41 is correct.
This is it, bro. What do you know?
Wait, isn't it MN, not your, and MN?
When there's 2 letters, the order doesn't matter. It's talking about the same segment. When it's 3 letters, the order matters. If it's an angle, only the middle letter matters. If it's a triangle, all 3 letters matter as far as the order. And that one's by CPCTC. You cannot use CPCTC unless somewhere in your problem you know that you have 2 congruent triangles. This is first, CPCTC comes last. That's really important. Some people have that backwards. All right, number 3, please take that those triangles and mark the things you know already. The things you know as a fact. The little dashes or little angle congruent marks. Put your markings that you know for a fact over here. Don't assume anything. What do you come up with?
Congruent marks.
Okay, here's the final answer.
Yeah.
Which congruent marks? What parts? 15 equals 15, and also the vertical angles?
Yeah.
Okay, so someone said ASA, and they are correct. That forms ASA. You've got 15 equals 15, that's obvious, and then you have your vertical angles. So, I'm going to write triangle DEC. You guys are going to line up the second triangle in the correct order to match up the parts that go together. I said D first, so what are you going to say first? B, good. I said E second, what are you going to put second? A. And I said C last, so you're going to put C last because they're also equal to each other. And that was by angle, side, angle. Once you know triangles are congruent, then you can go back and read the question. This question is asking us, explain whether K could have jumped the pond along BA or along CA. We need to figure out what those 2 lengths are, and then we can answer the question. So let's go and find all of our parts here. Dealing with corresponding parts, DE would be equal to what?
BA.
BA. And what number is that? DE and BA are both what?
20.
20. Yep, so on BA put 20. Alright, we also need to figure out CA. CA goes with which one on the other one? CA is second and third, so which one did that go with?
CE.
CE, and how big are those? What's the length?
25.
25.
Aha.
Okay, that's all by CPCTC. Once you know the triangles are congruent, then you can make all their corresponding parts congruent. If one corresponding part is 25, then the other one that goes with it is 25. After triangles are congruent, that's the most common thing that comes next, CPCTC. But you have to have the triangles congruent first. Now let's read the question. Heike Drechsler set the women's world junior record for the long jump in 1983. I looked it up and it hasn't been broken yet. It still stands from 1983. She jumped about 23.4 feet. The diagram shows two triangles and the pond. If Heike was here at the pond, which way would she be able to handle jumping? From B to A or from C to A? B to A.
So actually about like 14.
If she tried to jump from C to A, she'd land about 1.6 feet short and in the water. Right? Okay, turn the page. We're going to do some we're not doing proofs yet, but we're trying to lead into the proofs. You gotta get the important parts.
I can jump 23.4 feet.
You are a super track star.
Moses is gonna make it.
Practice.
Yeah, the whole program says
Okay,
steroids.
I'm gonna do 1 and 2 with you, then you're gonna try a few on your own, but look at what we're doing. We first of all have to state why the two triangles are congruent. We have to give a reason. So let's label them first. Triangle, I'm going to put this in my own order, QRS. For the first triangle, you can pick any order you want. I randomly picked them. But the second order has to correspond. So I started with the letter Q right here. Which one would go with that? T. And I'm starting with the letter R. Which one would go with that? W. Be careful. Sometimes they'll flip this one around. You have to go by the markings, not just by the lips. And then S goes with the X. By what reason would you give there? Excellent. AAS. Notice those two angles don't have anything in between them. It's just two angles and then the side is over there. That's how you know the two A's go side by side with nothing in between them. Angle, angle, and side. Alright, the question is then to list all the other corresponding parts. So look at the picture. You've already got 3 of them marked. You don't have to write them. But if you now know that these triangles are congruent, you could say that angle Q is congruent to what? Okay. What's another part I should label? I'm not trying to go with the ones that already have the black marks there. I want the ones that are still blank. What else goes together? Corresponding parts of these triangles.
Angle R is congruent to AW.
Yes, but that's already given. So they want us to list the other 3 parts that aren't given yet.
I was gonna take the box.
Oh, just the box. Yeah, you can take them all. Okay. All right. So angle R and W. Yes, that's already marked. Let's find the 3 that aren't told yet.
Side QX and side QX.
Excellent. Thank you. Side QS. That one doesn't have a mark on it yet, but now the way the triangles are congruent, we know it's true. Like QS is congruent to Q. No, TX. Sorry. And lastly, what's another piece that hasn't been told yet? Side RS? Good. So they're asking you to find the other parts. 3 parts are given to you, and we find the other parts. All of this, let me try to give you as many hints as I can. Whenever you know that triangles are congruent, your next step is almost always, especially for this chapter, it's going to be CPCTC. All these corresponding parts of these congruent triangles are also congruent. Parts go together. But number 4 is different. And that's why I wouldn't go over it, or number 2, sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's got overlapping things. Anyone still writing? Okay, I want your eyes up here. I need you to really see what happens when they overlap. And there's a lot of triangles in here. Excuse me. I've got like a triangle. triangle right here, triangle right here, but there's also the big triangle. We have to deal with the two that they're talking about. So, I'm going to start with the first one they said, and actually, there's a lot of possibilities. Let's focus on the one that they gave us to focus on. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, but then what we're going to do is redraw them. Alright, so they asked us to look at triangle AXY, AXY, so I'm putting that one in blue. And they asked us to look at triangle CYX. If you don't have highlighters, it's okay because we're going to draw them separately anyway. Now before we do anything, do you see a side in those two triangles that is reflexive? It's the same segment, but it's used both in the blue triangle and in the green triangle. Can you see a reflexive side here? XY. That's part of the green triangle and it's part of the blue triangle. There are vertical angles here, but not in the blue and the green triangles that we're dealing with. Those would be in some different ones. So please take your pencil and to the side or down below or wherever you have space, do your best to recopy the blue one.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be perfect. What has to be right is all the markings that we're going to make on it. So draw the one on the left. And again, there's more than one triangle, but I'm only focused on the one in the directions. Everything in the blue triangle has to be recopied. This is A, this is X, this is Y. A has a marking on it, so you have to put a marking on the A. AX has a marking on it, so you have to put a mark on AX. And see these marks here, these double marks? It goes all the way across with the X, so it goes right here. All I'm doing is marking the ones that were already marked. This is the trickiest part. Make sure you get this when they're overlapping. That's the hardest part. Let's draw the green one. If you don't have colors, it's okay. Just draw it to the right here. Just draw it as close as you can to the real thing, but that's not as important as the letters and the markers that you make. Alright, so for the green one here, we have C. What goes right here on this wide open angle right there? Y, and then X. The little green X right there. This X in blue is not the same as the X in green. The X in green is smaller. It's only opening here. The blue one is opening all the way down. Oh, what the? Focus, please, guys. You're going to wait a second till it focuses. This is the trickiest time. Alright. So let's put the marks down. This is the most tricky kind to look up here. C has a mark. So put a little mark at the C. CY has a dash. So put a dash on that one. And Y has two marks to go all the way across. Okay, so if you do it that way, it's going to be easier for you to see now what makes the two triangles congruent. Triangle AXY is congruent to, you help me put them in the right order. I started out with A. Which one matches A? C.
C.
Good job. X in the blue one has two marks, and Y in the green one has two marks, so those two go together. And then Y in the blue has no marks, and X in the green has no marks, so those two go together. So please, please, please notice when they're overlapping, the order of the letters are going to be used twice. X is used twice, Y is used twice, and not in the same place. By what reason? Look at these markings. Yes. Alright, the last thing we have to do is find the other corresponding parts. So when they ask you a question like this for your homework or for whenever, look at it now and don't write anything that has already been marked. Find things that have not been marked yet, like AY.
Yeah.
AY would be congruent to which segment?
XC.
Yes. And when it's two letters, the order doesn't matter. AY can be congruent to CX or to XC. what else is not marked yet for us, but now we know it because the triangles are congruent? X, Y,
Is congruent to X or
that's
Y.
right. And you could put it in either order. That's also reflexive, but it's also corresponding parts. Alright, there's an angle that hasn't been marked yet.
Angle what?
Alright, and those are because of CPCs.